Hello, and welcome to another episode of Talking Positive with Randy and Alan. I'm Alan.
And I'm Randy.
And today our guest is Roland Pascua. Welcome, Roland, from Rochester Hills, Michigan.
Thank you, guys. A pleasure to be here.
Thank you for joining us.
So I know a little bit about your history, but give us an idea of why you're here and how you came about to sitting with us today.
Absolutely. So in July of 22, I was participating in a charity bike ride for Make-A-Wish. Make-A-Wish. And it's a charity ride I've been doing. It would have been my 20th year doing it. It's a 300-mile bike ride.
Oh, wow.
And we raise, funds for kids that have life-threatening, illnesses and whatnot. And something we've been doing for a while. And it just happened after COVID. We've been absent. It's been very virtual. So this was our first time back. So it's like family.
Right.
I've seen these guys. I know them for years. Some of the guys I've been riding with, I met day one, 1999, and we formed a team. We've been riding. So it was a great day, great event. On day two, after riding 100 miles on Friday, on day two, we were about 70 miles in, and a car pulled into our lane and struck all five of us. We were doing about 21 miles an hour, and she was doing about 45. And all of us were hit except one of us. And I lost two of my friends that day.
Wow.
One died instantly at the scene, and another one died at the hospital shortly after. Mike Salhaney and Ed Erickson. Mike was a person that I met day one. So he and I have been cycling friends and good friends for a long time. So for me, I end up in the hospital, 36 broken bones, collapsed lung. My pelvis was broken. They weren't sure if my arm would make it, if I would make it. They stabilized me, but, I just remember waking up the next morning, and I'm looking around and I see my sister-in-law sitting there on the phone. And I'm wondering, what is she doing here? She doesn't live in Michigan. She lives in Roanoke, Virginia. And my best friend, who lives in Colorado, standing by the window on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just looking around, and I'm like, where am I? And I look down, and I see my legs all bandaged up. I look over, my arm is all bandaged up, and I realize I'm in a hospital bed. And in my mind, I just said, oh boy, this isn't good. And then I I passed out again. And when I woke up, my friends shared, what was, going on with me, what happened. Basically, a woman was inebriated. She was on drugs, and she just tried to pass a truck, and she hit us.
So when you say she came into your lane, it wasn't like she T-boned you guys. She came over, swerved over.
She swerved over and just ran into all of us. She ended up crashing her car. And again, that's, it was just crazy. I didn't even know I lost friends that day. They tried to keep it from me while I recovered. But when they did, it was just, it was a lot to take in. Here I am. I was athletic, I rode bikes, I was riding, I do this every year, 300 miles. I would run, and, surgery after surgery, I didn't even know what was going on. I was so medicated, but surgery after surgery. And then the doctor told me, it's like, okay, you got to stay put for a while. So it's like, okay, no bike riding, obviously, running. It's like, no, you broke your pelvis. You can't get out of the hospital for at least 10 weeks.
Man, how long was that whole process, if you can remember just all the surgeries? Like, how long was it from the beginning? I know you didn't know at the beginning, but when they
Yeah.
told you, like, how long was that process?
Well, the surgeries went on for about a week and a half, I believe, 6 or 7 total. They had to go in, fix stuff, go in, clean stuff out. With my arm, they put in. This is all metal, so I call it my bionic arm. I broke my clavicle. They had a metal plate on that. My scapula, 6 broken ribs. So, but my pelvis was the biggest one. They said I just couldn't move. You got to stay in bed, and that rocked my world. Just you know, something is just like, no, this can't be right. So this happened on the west side of the state. So I'm in Lansing and I'm at Sparrow Hospital. So I have to stay there. My family's all in Rochester Hills. So people would come visit, but here I am. I'm like, wait a minute. I have a job, right? I got to provide. I got a family. I just can't sit in a bed. I'm just I'm in shock. And there was a time where it's like I was pretty much depressed because I'm like, one, I can't see anyone. My friends would come over, and drive by, but still after they left, I'm
And you saying this was during COVID, so they really wasn't letting.
No, it wasn't during COVID. It was after.
Oh, okay.
This was after.
Oh, okay.
COVID in
After
22.
and it started back up. Okay, I'm sorry.
But again, so I'm pretty much by myself in this hospital, and obviously lots of questions going on. I couldn't even attend the funerals for my friends that passed away. So I'm feeling pretty bad about everything that's going on, and I just kept asking why, right? Why? I'm doing a charity, right? Why could this happen? And
So the accident. I'm sorry. The accident by you being in Lansing. So the accident happened close to Lansing.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, in
Oh,
Ionia County. And
yeah.
so, that's where I was, put in. They didn't want to move me any closer until everything is healed so they could, take a look at everything. So I spent about a month in Ionia at Sparrow Hospital in Lansing. And then they transferred me down into Pontiac, St. John's, that area right down there. And for 2 months I spent, the time there. Um, you know, I think the biggest thing, one of the things that happened that started turning, around is, I remember the doctor saying, Roland, we have athletes, we have football players that come in pro, they have the same thing. 10 weeks, it'll go by fast. But, when you're sitting there in the bed, and wondering, about all this, who's going to take care of my kids, and my wife is going to be all alone, raising kids. And what about my job? Are they going to keep my job open? Right? It's like, what's going to happen to me? Am I going to, at the time, I could not move my arm at all. Will I get this arm back? All these things were going through my mind.
Was that like a very like difficult thought? Because I had surgery on my shoulder, and I remember just for a day I couldn't move my arm, and I felt like, oh my God, and I had been working out and running, doing all this stuff, and just for a day I was losing my mind.
Yeah.
So for an athlete like you, what was that?
You start taking a look at what you take for granted, right? Everything, the simple things, it's just like I couldn't even move this arm. Thankfully, I'm right-handed. So that was, a good thing. But I remember, I had some friends that came by, and both of them were priests, and they blessed me and, praying. And when they left that day, there was like a full moon or something going on. And the moon was, when I look out the window, which I always do, I was looking out the window just because I haven't been out,
Yeah.
Since July, literally outside other than just, the patio there. But the moon was at a certain angle, and I noticed there was someone put like a cross, like like
Oh,
maybe
wow.
with their fingerprints.
Yeah.
You can't really see it during the day. You can't really see it at night except the reflection because the moon was shining on it. So I took a picture of it and I sent it to my friends that were just there. It's like, did you guys do this? They're like, no, we did not. I'm like, huh, that's kind of wild.
At what point did you remember, or did you ever remember what had happened at the moment when she hit you, or
No, you know what? I get that question a lot. And I have no memory of that. I remember the stop before, and we took a picture, and I just remember, I don't remember, and I once said maybe that's a good thing, that you don't remember it, because maybe that would be a little much. But what I was told was that my friend that did not get hit, he said I was on the ground and I kept trying to get up, and he kept telling me, "Don't, Roland, just stay down." And I, naturally, I was just trying to get up. And apparently, that's when the police start showing up. And this one officer, the officers pulled up, and one went to my friend Mike, and one went to me, and one was just trying to keep me calm. And he was just telling me, it's like your arm, Roland, was like in a weird place.
Mm.
And let me back up for a second. I got a Facebook message. My wife kept my phone away from me for at least a week because she said, you don't want to.
good move?
So when she finally did, I'm doing research and I'm reading about the woman that hit us. I'm, seeing all these people praying for us. And, that's when, one of them stood up, and it was just a message and said, Roland, you may not remember me, but I was the officer that came. And he was telling me, he wrote in there, it's like, you know what? I'm just so glad. I felt like I had to research you, and I came across your Facebook page, and I see the words that you're, the updates that you're doing better, you're getting better, you're going to live. And so he goes, I'm just to let you know, I'm praying for you. So if you want to call me, please do. So I called him, and he came to the hospital the next day.
Wow.
And this is what he was telling me. He's like, all right. I'm like, fill me in. There's a big gap here. And he told me when he came, pulled up, bikes were strewn all over the place. And he came running up to me, and his partner went to my friend Mike. And he said, he was trying to keep me calm. I was talking to him. Apparently I was just talking to him like we're talking right now. I don't remember any of this. But then the paramedics came, and he waved them over, and they wanted to, take care of my arm. So he said he had to roll me over onto, his body's to hold so they could address the arm. And he said, Roland, your body was so cold.
Mm.
It was one of the hot, it was 80 something degrees up, but your body was so cold. Roland. I'm wearing a police vest, and I could feel the coldness seep in. And I held the gurney. I helped put the gurney in the ambulance, and I shut the door. And he said, I just stopped, and he said I started crying, and because he thought for sure, it's like, this guy's not going to make it.
Wow.
He's known, it's like, this guy's not going to make it. And he said it devastated him.
Wow.
He talked to his wife, came home, and that's when he started researching me. And then he started crying. He goes, I'm sorry. I feel like I'm talking like, you should be a dead man right now in my eyes. It's like, I don't know if you're a person of faith, Roland, but you're a miracle. And I never really thought about it. And, it's just the fact that he said that. And, I just realized it's like, okay, two of my friends died. And I remember thinking 36 broken bones. And then I'm thinking to myself, bones heal. I said, I am going to survive this. I know what kind of condition I'll be in, but I am going to survive it. And that's where things changed. And I started thinking, it's like, wow, this is, pretty powerful. And I stopped asking why. And I just said, what now? Okay, this happened. What now? And that's, the 10 weeks flew by. Joe, man, I couldn't even tell you. People were coming in. One of my friends told me that one of the nurses stopped them. It's like, he gets so many visitors. Is he famous? I'm like, no. I mean, I cannot believe how many people. I thought it's like my family, my friends, but apparently this made national news because Make-A-Wish is a national charity. And obviously I had people praying for me in all states, prayer groups. And that's when I realized, just that power of prayer. It's like, there's no way I could have gone through this. They said, Roland, you have 6 broken ribs. You're going to be in pain. Okay. If I could be honest, it's like, I don't know if I could endure it, but it wasn't that bad.
Are you still in contact with that officer?
I am. We're talking about it. It's like trying to get together. My daughter goes to MSU, so I said, we're going to get together soon. I was just thinking about him the other day. It's like, you know, I would love to see him again. But
I know I kept up with it through Tim, and Tim's my nephew and Roland's good friend, and I was calling him and you know keeping you in my prayers and everything. So people were praying for you. You didn't even know who they were,
yeah,
like you said, all over the country and everything. Did you ever get to face the person that did this?
yes. There was a few trials that I couldn't attend because I wasn't healthy enough, but I did end up going to the trial, and where she was actually, the verdict, when the verdict was given. So I did see her. Uh, During the whole trial, she didn't show any remorse, uh, in my opinion. The way she was acting, the way her family was acting, they felt like she was a victim, which was really sad. There, 2 people lost their lives, and there was no remorse except when it came down to it. She had a chance to speak, and then also, she put on the tears, and you know, I don't know if she'll ever if how real that was, but deep down, like for me to move forward, I knew I had to forgive her. And in my mind, I did. I did forgive her. Again, that's not for me to judge her. She will have an ultimate, judge to deal with that. But for me, I don't want to harbor anything. A lot of people always ask, like, "Can you talk about it?" It's okay. It's like, you know what? There'd be a bigger problem if I couldn't talk about it, because that means there's some unresolved things going on. So for me, just getting better, and I made it a point to just, I went into that hospital on a gurney, and my plan was to walk, leave the hospital walking. But uh, when I went to the rehab, I was kind of a little shocked. That's not the goal. They said our goal is to make sure you can get from a bed to a wheelchair, to a wheelchair, to a bed, go to the bathroom, shower, get dressed. The real, which made me mad, because I'm like, no, that's not how I'm going to end up. It's like,
So what was that like? What was it that jump started you? Was your family like the inspiration? Was it? I mean, again, I understand being an athlete, that competitive nature. Definitely not wanting to quit, not wanting to give up. What was that inspiration for you that made you say, "Forget just getting from a wheelchair to a bed. I'm about to get my life back."
yeah. You know what? The only thing, and I stand by it right now, is my faith. Uh, there's not a time where I ever felt alone. And if I didn't have that knowing, that again, people will, one thing I realized, people either will say, hey, if, you know, you're my God and this happened to me, how could you let this happen to me? And they part ways, right? But for me, it's like, I know all right, I don't understand the reason, but I accept it. That's why it's not about why anymore. It's about, okay, this happened to me. What now? What am I to do with this now? And that's the one thing I've noticed. A lot of people have talked to me. It's like, Roland, you are like an inspiration. The fact that you are pushing and you're just keep doing this. And again, it's not about, money. It's about, that's not what makes you successful. It's like what you do with it, what you do with your life. And just watching you, push every day and try to be better, your positive attitude. When I finally did leave the hospital, which I walked out, um, one of the things that's like, I went to my run group, and you know I saw them off, but I started walking with the group after a while. And then, a few years, it's been a couple years. And since I can't ride anymore, the Make-A-Wish has a 22-mile hike that they do. So last October, I said, all right, that's my challenge. If I could walk, I could hike. So I'm thinking, and I biked 300 miles. I can do 22 miles. Wow, that was an ordeal.
How long did it take you to do that 22?
8 hours.
Oh,
And, I had blisters on my blisters. It's something, I was humbled by that. And, I didn't expect it to be easy, but just, you know what? It was one of those things where I got so much support from this. People cheer me on, and I raised about $20,000 just from all my supporters, just pushing me. But one thing I remember, one of the last stops, like, how many miles left? Only 4 more miles, and it's like, you might as well have just said 22. My feet were on fire; they're bleeding. I'm just like, I'm going to do this. So I did that, and then I realized, okay, you know what? I'm going to push my body a little bit more. The Detroit Marathon came along, and I'm not a marathon runner. The most I'll do is a half, but there was a relay. It's like, Roland, there's one for 6.8 miles. You think you could run 6.8 miles? It's like, wow, I haven't ran 6.8 miles in, over 3 years. So yeah, I'm going to do it. So I did that, and that's when I realized, okay, I'm on that path, and I'm going to do it. So I started training again. And then about 3 weeks ago at Glass City, I did my first half marathon in 4 years.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
I heard the time was pretty good, too.
You know what? I was like, oh, I could have done better, because, you'd think you would know how to eat and do all this, but I actually bonked because I didn't eat right and hydrate. I was like, I completely forgot how to do it. One of my friends, just said, Roland, you're focusing on the wrong thing. I'm like, yeah, I get it. I just did something that, I never thought I could do. So, for me, it's just, again, knowing where I came from, where I am, and I had, my friends, and, I had friends that would say, it's like, I've never been injured, but I've never done a half marathon, or I've never done a 22-mile hike. It's like, because I always think I could never do it, but look at Roland, if he got injured and, he came back and now he can still do all this, it's like, maybe I could do something. And that's where, I let people know, it's like, you just, you just gotta believe and just have faith, right? It's like, hey, maybe, it's, if you give up, then you're already done, right? I just believe there's a point where, hey, there's a reason why this happened, and I may not know all of it right now, but I just know the impact I've had on people. They said that I'm an inspiration to them, and that, and so if that even changed someone's life to do something different, or just be better, or even look at their own faith, again, I just look at it, for me, I just know I couldn't have done it without my faith. You asked that question, Randy. It's like, no question. But I just don't know, if you don't have it, that how do you survive, right?
How are your other two friends doing that were injured?
So yeah, 2 of them died, and then
Right.
one of them, he hurt it. I think he broke his ankle, but he's doing well. And my friend Jim, those two are doing really well. They actually are still riding the Make-A-Wish ride. They rode it the next year, the year after, and which was, I commend them, because obviously you go through that, and I mean, I'm sure their spouses had a lot of discussions about this. It's like, are you sure you want to do this, right? But the fact that they're still doing it is an amazing, and people are still doing it. I go every year. I don't ride, but I just go to be there. I mean, it's my family, so I support them. But it's just they're doing well. The wedding I'm actually going to today, it's my late friend Mike Salhaney. It's his son.
Oh,
wow.
So it's a pretty
Very
important.
special,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
a very it's very special. So
Yeah.
it's like the timing of all this, right? It's just like wow, so
Wow.
And
it's
Mike
pretty
will be
amazing.
there with you.
Mike will be there, with me. So I'm looking forward to that.
Wow.
All right. Well, Roland, we definitely want to thank you for coming and sharing your story. It's amazing and definitely inspirational. I tell Alan, Alan does his half marathon that he inspired me to. I said, "Oh, I'll do it with you," but he said he walks them a lot, and I said, "Well, how long that take?" About 5-6 hours. I said, if I walk, I go crazy. So I got to run, and I can't walk for 5 hours anywhere. I'm gonna have to run. So I've been training to run these half marathons.
Yeah, my walk.
3 hours maybe, but 5-6, I go.
No,
nuts.
my walk is 3.5 hours.
Oh, that's better.
Yeah.
So it
If
should
it
take
was
me that
5
long.
hours, they won't let you do the full marathon because it'll take too long.
Exactly.
So my best time is 3.5 hours.
Walking?
Walking. I did
Wow.
over the Ambassador Bridge and back through the tunnel.
No
Yeah,
kidding.
I do between 3.5 and 3 hours and 45
What
minutes.
kind of pace is that?
About a
That's
15,
extremely
16.
That's fast.
15,
really
15,
fast.
16 minutes.
Fast pace.
Yeah.
Walking, if you think about it, it's just like I
That's
think
like-
17 is like me just trying to walk
Yeah.
fast. And it's like,
Well,
That's
that's why I was asking you about the 22 miles because I walked from here to Commerce Township, which was 15.12 miles, and I did that in 4 hours. So that's why that might be an idea.
I'm gonna recruit you.
Right.
I have a team. You
Right.
and Randy. You and Randy are. I'm gonna recruit you guys.
So that would be great. That would be great.
Randy's like, oh boy, what can I do?
No, I used to all the time biking, like mountains, mountain biking, all that stuff. I used to do it all. Then I got a good job at Chrysler and kind of slowed down for a minute. But I'm slowly getting back into the swing of things. I was telling Alan, recently over the past year, I lost like 55 pounds.
No kidding.
And I've just really been just getting back into the swing of things, and
Yeah, I said to him today, I go, did you lose weight? He goes, yeah. Because I just had cervical neck surgery in February. And when I got on the scale in December, I said, I'm going to lose 30 pounds by March. And by the time I got in the hospital on February 10th, I lost 22. And then I lost another. So I'm 40 pounds lighter from when I did my last marathons. So I still have a goal. I'm unfortunately having more surgery next month, but I still have that goal to do it with the 40 pounds less this October.
Makes a huge difference. Carrying that, right?
And I've been riding the bike that way too. So
good.
It'll be good.
Good for you.
Roland, you are an inspiration, as Randy said. I followed your story all along and I won't stop. And that's when I said to Tim, do you think Roland would be interested? So thank you very much.
It's an honor. So thank you. Any chance I could, just share it and, hopefully, just inspire people. But I love what you guys are doing. It's a great podcast. And, again, I think you're doing the same thing, right? Hey, how, what can we do in this world, right? That's what we're here for.
Make it a better world.
Yeah, make it a better world. That's what we're here for. Right?
That's great. If you'd like to be a guest on Talking Positive with Randy and Alan, call us at 313-454-1104 or email us at talkingpositivepod@gmail.com. Well, until our next episode, signing off.
Stay positive and see you next time.